there are plenty of other people who are trying to do what we're doing. There's a guy, I'm probably going to podcast with him, Jordan, who's tweeting like a lot of stuff. And on the onset, I was like, man, like, respect the hustle. Like on the online front, he's basically where we are. Let me pull him up. Let's give Jordan some shine. He's changed his like profile picture like maybe 7 times since I followed him like this past month. But he tweets a lot of good stuff. But then like lately, not that like I outright disagree, but I've like been chiming in with some of his tweets because I want to give that extra context. Because kind of like everything that we've said about motivation or like hashtag Fitspo, if it does something for you, awesome. Then don't even listen to me. Like keep immersing yourself in that stuff. But for everyone who sees that fitness stuff and they're like, well, that's not me. Like, I guess I'm doing it wrong, or maybe fitness isn't for me. I just always want to be like, if that's not you, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Let me see if I can pull up this tweet. And yeah, maybe this will be the last thing and I can get your thoughts on it.
All right, I guess so, man. What, him kissing a dog, Dave? That's cute as hell. What's wrong with you?
Oh, here we go. So this is the first one where I was like, I don't agree. So, thoughts, feelings, actions, choices. Within your life, you control each of these. If you're not happy with where you are today, begin changing them until you find the formula that leads you to success. Your immediate reaction, maybe you wouldn't say you disagree, but this is the one where I saw it on my line. I'm like, no, not quite.
So that's cool. Like, because like, and that's the good part about you and me is like, we don't always see eye to eye on stuff. That's the cool part. Like, no one has to see eye to eye because if you want something, there's a lot of ways to get it. It is not Chase's path or John's path. It's your path. And for the 4 things he's listed right here: thoughts, feelings, actions, choices. So I will say, like, you do have control, like, of some of these. I don't agree that you have immediate control of all of them. Right. Now, over time, can you get better at like controlling your thoughts? Yes. Is it perfect though on the moment? No, because like we're humans and we have immediate things that go through our heads every day, where something negative could run through your head and you have to work very hard for the positive things to quickly overtake them, or just overtake them at all. Some people like keep those negative thoughts in their heads. And so even though if you were to ask them, they would tell you, I want to think positively, right? Like I hope no one would tell you like, oh yeah, I'm a negative thinker and like, I'm okay with that. I hope not. Like maybe there are people like that. Now feelings, I feel like is the hardest one here, because like how you feel is like the majority of like how people are built. At least that's how I see it, is like some people are like very happy. And I really have a hard time saying like feelings are choices, because then they're forced. I don't know. That's how I feel about like the first 2 is like those ones aren't necessarily like stuff you have total control of, because it's more like history that really will dictate those. Now, can you have control of them? You could work at it. There is a bit of work. Now, actions, I will say, I believe, you have control over like the actions you take, the steps you take. Like, if you have, again, if you are able to take action for it, then it should be under your control. And your choices, like, they may not always be like, you may be stuck in a place where your choices are limited, but you still have choices, right? And so that is under your control. So if I'm going down step by step, that's how I feel, where like your thoughts, although you do have some, over time, you do have some gauge of control. I think immediate thoughts can sometimes be outside of what you control. Feelings, I feel like, are the hardest because people are tempered different. Some people like have more positive feelings than negative. Some people are just negative feeling wise, a lot of times. Sometimes your life, like where you are situationally, like dictates your feelings. And we have a hard time of bringing ourselves out of that. Those 2, I feel like are kind of the harder ones for me.
Basically, like that was what it was for me too. Like my quote unquote beef with it was those first two. And again, it's not that, I appreciate the sentiment. I think that's, or at least I hope that's how I opened up my response tweet, where I really don't think you can control the immediacy, but that doesn't mean you can't try.
Right.
And like that doesn't mean you can't try to dismiss like something negative. That doesn't mean you can't work towards controlling how much you dwell on it. Something that we've talked about before, whether it's being down or being angry. But I guess part of the reason why I'm so sensitive on the subject is like I've told you, and like I have no problem talking about publicly. Like I worked like a full-time stint this past year at a job unrelated to fitness and communication, and that took like a big mental health toll on me. And it made me reconsider all this, like, oh, depression is a choice, man. Like you just got to pull yourself out of it. Because for some people, yeah, they should, because for those people it's not actually depression, you know what I mean?
Right.
But there's plenty of times when I was feeling real low, and obviously I don't want to be there, and yeah, I want to pull myself out of that point, and I couldn't. So then are you going to tell that person like, hey man, you're just not trying hard enough? No, like I think that's like maybe the worst thing that you can do. And obviously like Jordan's not even like trying to touch that thing, but it just kind of like served as a trigger for me, because like we said, those thoughts and those feelings, yeah, like I think we can control our reaction to it.
Yeah.
And when we had the discussion, like that's basically what he was alluding to as well. So we like disagreed on the surface, but we still agreed at the core heart of the issue. And to me, that's like ultimately what's most important, because otherwise, like if you're just gonna like disagree just to disagree on those certain things, it reminds me too much of like English teaching and like freaking grammar or whatever. Like no one cares. Like who cares about being right on that? It's like who are we actually helping with the message? So just trying to make it more fully fleshed out as possible. Is just the sentiment that I had behind it.
Yeah, nice. I like it.